Uyisa madoda komkhulu eGqeberha. Kuyabonakala madoda namhlanje kuyambeswa kuyahonjiswa esizweni. Yaloo nto ke kunamhlanje mna ndimbongi suke ndithi sithe sayisusa ikade ziko madoda atsho amatkonkwana lezoso kuba kakade thina singabantu sincamile sathengisa igusha lenkomo kuba namhlanje besifuna kokuba bazawuthweswa isidanga ati amagosa kakade madoda isihlahla somnquma sigawulwa nje siyantshula ngoba kuzalwa nyana bonke iintombi zongonina onina bonke amadoda abo abusa iinkosi zabo yoloo nto xa kunamhlanje mna suke ndithi ukutyaba kwembizi amadoda kakade kubonakala esicikweni ati amangesi madoda it was nothing but with the grace of God it was more than an energy yoloo nto xa kunamhlanje suke ndithi hayi hey.
Good day and welcome to the Nelson Mandela University Autumn Graduation Season that you can view anywhere in the world and at any time. This occasion marks the culmination of your hard work as the graduate, your family and your communities that brought you to this moment. This special day is also symbolic of the collective hard work of our academic, professional and administrative staff. Your graduation is testimony that hard work pays off and that excellence is achievable. This achievement is even more remarkable because it was at the time of a global pandemic. Today, we all celebrate with you. This virtual graduation has been designed digitally to accommodate the COVID-19 protocols and the sector guidelines. This season brings 6 stream sessions, mostly one per faculty, with your qualification presented by your Executive Dean and awarded by our Chancellor, Dr. Geraldine Fraser-Moleketi. A message of welcome by our Vice-Chancellor, Professor Sibongile Mutwa, is also included. The University Choir will help in celebrating you and your families with a bespoke South African standard and closing each session with our national anthem. These stream sessions will be available on the University YouTube channel for easy viewing and sharing. In addition, the graduation booklets will be available on the university website to download. Please like and share and be proud of your achievement. Your secure digital graduation certificate will be available for downloading after all the graduation sessions have been concluded. You can also arrange for the delivery of your paper copy of your certificate. Instructions are outlined in your graduation letter as well as a guide which can be accessed on the graduation website. Please do celebrate safely. Remember, you can change the world.
By virtue of the powers vested in me as Chancellor of the Nelson Mandela University, I hereby constitute the virtual congregation for the purpose of awarding qualifications. I now request the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Sibongile Mutwa, to say a few words of welcome.
Madam Chancellor, Dr. Geraldine Fraser-Moleketi, Chairperson of our Council, Ambassador Nozipho January Badil, members of Council, members of Senate, Deputy Vice-Chancellors, Executive Deans of Faculties and the Dean of Students, professors, academics, student leadership, honorary doctoral recipients, and most importantly, our graduates, including those at the pinnacle of achievement, those receiving their doctorates, and all your family and friends who are joining us today in this virtual graduation. It is my privilege to welcome you to our 2021 autumn graduation season. Graduation is the ultimate celebration in the life of any university. As we share in our collective joy of each graduate receiving their qualification today, we remain conscious that, as the global community, we have yet to defeat COVID-19. The pandemic has ravaged communities. It has caused unimaginable grief and loss of life. The world economy is stagnant and families have suffered deep economic setbacks, which will affect livelihoods for multiple years ahead. This, in turn, has had a significant knock-on effect on resources, both public and private, available to fund higher education. Yet, despite this devastation wrought by the pandemic, we have also witnessed the dawn of bold, imaginative, and breakthrough innovations. Most profoundly, the university has had to make immediate transition to learning and teaching via online and blended platforms. This has made the past academic year unique and unprecedented. Each and every graduate receiving a qualification today has risen to all these new and unfamiliar challenges in unimaginable ways, with agility, ingenuity, and tenacity. And so the successful completion of studies by each graduating student represents a true triumph of what is possible. For this, we salute you. As we remember the words of our namesake, Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, who stated that it always seems impossible until it's done. As graduates of Nelson Mandela University, you have a responsibility to take forward Madiba's legacy. Nelson Mandela, the figure, remains a commanding and unparalleled presence of the 20th century. As a person, he dedicated all his life to creating a more equal and just society and ensuring a better life for all. He had a deep compassion for humanity and its interconnectedness. He lived out his conviction that none of us can be truly free unless we commit to the advancement of universal freedoms and rights and dedicate ourselves to fostering an appreciation for the dignity of all human beings. He worked tirelessly to unite this country, our continent, and the world behind the higher ideals of justice and reconciliation. And of course, he placed huge importance on education as a force for good and a weapon to change the world. Our society remains profoundly unequal, with high levels of poverty and unemployment, as well as various forms of exclusion. Responding to the complex challenges of our times calls for deep commitment to the service of humanity and a dedication to a cause that is larger than each one of us. It is my hope that as graduates of Nelson Mandela University, inspired by our ambitious vision and mission, and cognizant of our noble values, you will set out to extend the impact of your contribution in ways that contribute to a world that is better than the one we live in. We hope that the time we have spent at Nelson Mandela University has been life-changing, and that we have gained a holistic perspective of the world, which will equip you to use your talents in the service of society. We are indeed proud that this year we welcome the first cohort of medical students to the country's 10th medical school here at Mandela University. It is also my pleasure to use this occasion to share with you, our stakeholders, and you, our graduandi of 2021, that University Council recently approved Nelson Mandela University's Vision 2030, a strategic roadmap that will set out to guide our work and scholarly contribution in the next 10 years. I invite you to walk this path with us through your direct and indirect involvement as we bring to life our promise to be the university in service of society. On this important occasion of your graduation, we salute all the family members, loved ones, and friends for the role you have played in supporting and enabling our graduates to reach this remarkable milestone in their life journey. I also want to pay special tribute to our dedicated academic and professional support staff who have worked alongside our graduates to ensure that, despite these difficult times, they succeed and they excel. In this autumn graduation season, we are proud to be awarding in the region of 5,000 qualifications across the spectrum from undergraduate to doctoral degrees. We are also delighted to be awarding 3 honorary doctorates in recognition of outstanding individuals who have made sterling and exceptional contributions to society. It is our humble honor and privilege to welcome our honorary doctorate recipients to the Nelson Mandela University family. I do hope that your association with this institution and its iconic namesake will be rewarding one for you, as it is a proud one for us. Again, I welcome you to this autumn graduation ceremony of 2021. Congratulations to our graduates. Halala Mazenethole.
Shine on, we turn our faces to the sun. Shine on. We took a slow road to the coast, trying to find a reason for the things that matter most. And as the dawn became a blue savannah sky, I thought I saw an endless summer in your eyes. If we knew what we had lost, could we bear to feel the pain or count the cost? From how we live to how we die, the songs we sing, the flags we fly, the things we choose to leave behind, chains of time. Oh, a battle lost, a battle won, another journey's just begun. And yet when all is said and done, we turn our faces to the sun. So shine on, so shine on, so turn our faces to the sun. So shine on, so shine on, so turn our faces to the sun. So turn our faces to the sun. So turn our faces to the sun. It's funny how the years just slip away. What we never got to do and what we never got to say. The gatherings of memory and the words that set us free. Where we're from and who we are and what we'll be. If we knew what we had lost, could we bear to feel the pain or count the cost? From how we live to how we die, the songs we sing, the flags we fly, the things we choose to leave behind, chains of time. Oh,
We shall now, honoured guests, proceed with the conferring of an honorary doctoral degree. The Governing Council of the University approved the nomination of Matsilo Motsai for the awarding of an honorary doctoral degree by the university. Honoured guests, I now request the Acting Executive Dean of the Faculty of Health Sciences, Professor Dalena van Rooyen, to present the honorary doctoral recipient.
Madam Chancellor, I have the honour of presenting Matsilo Motsai for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, honoris causa. Madam Chancellor, it gives me great pleasure to read the following commendation in respect of the honorary doctoral recipient. Matsilo Motsai is an author, speaker and integrative healer with a keen interest in integrating indigenous wisdom with modern innovations. She holds an integrated diploma in general nursing and midwifery from Mapulaneng Hospital in Mpumalanga, a BCur from Limpopo University, Bachelor Honours in Psychology from UNISA, and a Master's in Creative Writing from Rhodes University. She is currently enrolled for her PhD in Sociology at the University of Pretoria. She started her career as a nurse, midwife, social science researcher, and rural development facilitator and general transformation consultant. Her advocacy for social policy, however, is rooted in community engagement, where she pioneers breakthrough projects. In 1992, she founded ADAPT, Agisenang Domestic Abuse Prevention and Training, an organization based in Alexandra Township in Johannesburg, using holistic methods in addressing domestic and sexual violence in urban and rural communities. During her 8-year tenure at ADAPT, she developed a community empowerment model for addressing domestic violence, which views the woman as the nexus around which family and community life resolves. In 1997, she organized the first men's march against rape in Alexandra Township. In 2001 and 2002, she was a consultant to RADAR, a rural woman and HIV project of the School of Public Health at Wits University. She did groundbreaking work in designing a model that integrates gender violence, and HIV in microcredit finance programs for rural women in Burgersfort District, Limpopo Province. In 2014, she was contracted by HIVOS to replicate the model with rural women in Zimbabwe. In 2003, she led research with the Freedom Park Trust on the spiritual significance of rocks and water in African healing. The methodology excavated and recorded the wisdom of indigenous elders and healers residing in villages across South Africa. The findings of her work were used by landscape architects to design a garden of remembrance. In 2013, she undertook a 7-day climb of Mount Kilimanjaro to raise funds for Tsogang Basadi Orphan Project in Mavilyan Village in Bushbuck Ridge, Limpopo. She has worked with women across the continent, including women who were raped during the war in Mogadishu in Somalia. Beyond Africa, she has worked with various institutions in the US, Australia, Canada, Europe, and Nepal. Her scholarly work includes teaching and facilitating seminars at UNISA, Wits, Stellenbosch, Mpumalanga, and Rhodes University. She has written and published several books, including The Kanga and the Kangaroo Court, Reflections on the Rape Trial of Jacob Zuma. Reweaving the Soul of the Nation, Essays in African Spirituality, Politics and Feminism. She's the founding director of the Africa Ikalafa Spiritual Health Institute, aptly called Africa Ikalafa, which means Africa Heal Thyself. The aim of the Institute is to indigenize health and development, and by doing so, build an African consciousness that will provide fertile ground for healing of wounded individuals, families, and communities. One of the key projects of Africa Ikalafa is Marumo Fatsha, whose focus is to use technology in a search for an indigenous African healing justice framework in responding to sexual violence in South Africa. She's received numerous national and international awards, including the United Nations Scroll of Honor Award for her work in involving men as part of the solution to violence against women, for her union of intuition, logic, spirit, science, and community-based leadership that encourages a compassionate engagement with people and the environment. It is an honor for Nelson Mandela University to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy honoris causa in the Faculty of Health Sciences on Matsilo Motsai. Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy honoris causa on Matsilo Motsai.
I confer the degree of Philosophy honoris causa on Matsilo Motsai. We shall now listen to Dr. Motsai's acceptance speech.
The Chairperson of the Council, Ambassador Nozipho January Badil, members of the Council, Chancellor Dr. Geraldine Fraser-Moleketi, Vice-Chancellor Professor Sibongile Mutwa, Deputy Vice-Chancellors, Executive Deans of Faculty and Senior Management, members of staff, members of Student Representative Council, all students graduating today, and family members watching. It is a great honor for me to receive this honorary doctorate from a university which is led by women. More than 3 decades ago, this was unthinkable. I mention this because it is easy to feel apathetic and lose hope in a country struggling no more against apartheid but against corrupt leadership. The flip side of the achievements that we are proud of is a country which is marked by lawlessness and loss of moral compass. To receive an honorary doctorate from a university which is led by women who are not just women, but individuals who worked hard to build a post-apartheid, non-sexist South Africa that we all dreamed of, is therefore a victory for the fight against the oppression of women and the repression of the feminine planetary principle. If I could be at many places at once, I would obviously be at the university receiving the honorary doctorate in person. I would also be here at Senteng Primary School in Mativestad in Hammanskraal, where I will be celebrating this honor with learners and the community on Friday, the 23rd of April 2021. In addition, I would also be at 2 places: a village in Bushbuck Ridge where I lived in isolation after being flung out of life following the release of my book, The Kanga and the Kangaroo Court, Reflections on the Rape Trial of Jacob Zuma. I would also be in a farm in Machado Dorp where I lived in the bush in isolation, nursing a soul wound inflicted by courage to speak out. I received this honor standing on the ground of a school that I attended as a little girl long before I knew what community development is. For a development practitioner, growing up in a village comes with several advantages. Before you step into a classroom, you are already enrolled in a form of education. In his book, Facing Mountain Kenya, Jomo Kenyatta argues that education that starts in the community facilitates healthy character formation and self-identity. Through such value-based education, virtues are inculcated and ambitions are fostered. By the time the child goes to what he refers to as a European school, She's already rooted in basic knowledge of her clan traditions and the philosophy of being one with others and the environment. With an intact background in Indigenous education emanating from growing up in a village, as well as being appointed to carry the legacy of spiritual healing within my family of origin, it was only natural that I would later gravitate towards rural development facilitation. It is from such exposure that my current research is focusing on Indigenous ways of being, living, and knowing. Very often, academic research done on Indigenous people tends to focus on dysfunctional families and communities. In other words, Indigenous people are perceived as a problem that needs to be solved or as an archaic entity that needs to be civilized. It is true that Indigenous people face grave social ills. It is common knowledge that many, if not all of these, are a result of decades of political, economic, cultural, and spiritual oppression. However, this does not mean that dispossessed people exist as empty cultural and spiritual vessels waiting to be filled up by other people's belief systems. Our attempts to decolonize education should therefore not be limited to replacing white with black, but on reclaiming Indigenous philosophies and how these impact on development outcomes. There is a higher chance of social and economic growth amongst people who are taught to leverage their Indigenous knowledge for human welfare and development. An exclusive Western approach to development is imperialistic, and it therefore breeds a sense of inferiority. Colonial education serves as an effective tool in planting the seeds for advancing imperialism in a post-apartheid society. I chose to accept this award at my former primary school to plant a seed among these learners that where they are born and where they grow up should not limit them to a colonial state of mind that prepares them only to go and look for jobs in urban areas. In the future, one would hope that we will be sober enough to elect political parties and leaders who take these development issues seriously. Beyond this school, I received this honorary doctorate on behalf of two women. Mema Shile, a rural woman who gave me my life back when I had been shunned by activists and feminists after writing the book about Jacob Zuma's rape trial. She is the kind of woman who looks poor materially, but her outlook in life is richer than many African offshore bankers. I also received this award on behalf of May Elsie, a farm worker in Machadodorp who lives the philosophy of Ubuntu even when she has nothing to eat. She, like many farm workers, has never owned her own home, but she does not regard herself as homeless. I would like to thank my family, my departed father, Randebo, for teaching me to fly far and wide, for not limiting me in any way because I'm a girl. I give thanks to my mother, Buitumelo, the powerful lioness who is still with us, writing and living her life fully despite her advanced years. I'm deeply grateful to my children and my life partner for holding the space for me and believing in my dream. Ke leboga badimo ba Ramotseya Manyane Moloisana Tladiatselane. Ke leboga wena Kgaitsedi Thothe, motho wa bo Mogobiana Kitletse, bankgeli ba ntla ka dithoko, ba tshabageng ka phamola motho ka molatlhela bodibeng ba bonkoto, Khumi, Madumo le Pheloe Bokobebela. Ba tshweneng, ba kgatla, ba Shitlaopa, ba Fokeng, ba Tsopye, ba Koni, ke a le leboga. It is an honor for me to be part of Nelson Mandela University community. Looking forward to future collaborations and partnerships. Thank you.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to award certificates, diplomas, and confer bachelor's honoris degrees, and master's degrees in the Faculty of Health Sciences on the candidates who have completed their respective qualification during the past academic year and whose names appear in the graduation booklet.
I award the qualifications as requested.
Madam Chancellor, I now have the privilege to request you to confer doctoral degrees in the Faculty of Health Sciences on the candidates whose name appear in the graduation booklet.
I confer the doctoral degrees on the candidates whose names appear in the graduation booklet as requested. Graduates and members of our digital audience, ladies and gentlemen, before I dissolve the virtual congregation, I wish to congratulate the graduates. As we draw this graduation ceremony to its close, I wish to thank you for joining in this new and experimental phase of online graduations. At Nelson Mandela University, we strive to change the world. 2020 brought this, our rallying cry, into sharp relief as the world changed rapidly around us. As graduates, you have risen to all that 2020 brought to the fore. You have demonstrated that with commitment, will, and determination, success is possible. In the words of Nelson Mandela, and I quote, "Education is the great engine of personal development. It is through education that the daughter of a peasant can become a doctor, that the son of a mine worker can become the head of the mine, that a child of farm workers can become the president of a great nation. It is what we make out of what we have, not what we are given, that separates one person from another," close quotes. I congratulate you on your achievement. You have made us all so proud. At this moment in our annual graduation ceremony, had we all been together on campus for this momentous day, I would have asked all graduates to throw your hats into the air in triumphant celebration. But the changes that COVID-19 pandemic thrust upon the world have shown us that we need to develop new traditions and rituals. So I urge you to celebrate in new ways in recognition of your graduation today. I encourage you to share pictures and stories on our website and social media channels so that together we continue to make memories and build Nelson Mandela University into the future. We look forward to your active participation as alumni, as we continue our collective work as an engaged university in the service of society to change the world. I wish to close with the words of acclaimed singer Sibongile Khumalo, whom Nelson Mandela dubbed as the country's First Lady of Song, and who performed at his inauguration at South Africa's first democratically elected president of a democratic South Africa in 1994. A passionate educationist and musical genius, she sadly passed away in January this year. She said, and I quote, "While exposing yourself and opening yourself up to what is out there, it is also important to remain true to yourself, so that even when you allow yourself to be influenced by others, you retain an identity that clearly defines you," close quotes. I wish all our graduates well as you journey forth to wherever the next phase of your life takes you. I trust you will retain an identity that clearly defines you as a graduate of Nelson Mandela University. Thank you to our audience who have joined us for this virtual graduation. I encourage you all to please stay safe, to protect yourself and the health of your loved ones and our communities. By virtue of the powers vested in me as Chancellor of the Nelson Mandela University, I now end this virtual graduation.
Israel, South Africa, South Africa. Eighty blow van ons Here, eighty dikte van ons Heer. Oor ons ewige gebeurtes, van die grootste antwoord gee. Sounds the call to come together, and united we shall stand. Let us live and strive for freedom in South Africa.